Good afternoon, 4th grade. Today we're going to continue reading in our American Revolution text. But before we get started, we have a quick write. It says, describe a time when you thought you knew what was going to happen but were wrong. How did you learn that you were mistaken? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. The focus question says, why was the victory at Saratoga significant in the American Revolution? Why was it a turning point in the war? Our vocabulary words for today are advance, and that's to move forward in a purposeful way. 2, strategic, that's when you carefully design a plan for a specific purpose. And force. It's an organized body of military personnel or police. So this would be our picture that shows advance. We have people moving forward. This picture is an example of someone being strategic. They're coming up with a plan to reach their goal. And in the middle, we have the military force. Turn the page and open up in your text to pages 16 and 17. Before we get started reading, we're going to ask a how or why question about the title, Victory at Saratoga. And the why question I came up with was, why was the victory at Saratoga important? Press pause to write down your answer in box 1A and play when you're ready to read. Our main idea we're going to get by answering this why question. So everyone needs to be in June 1777 to get ready to read. In June 1777, a royal army journeyed from Canada over Lake Champlain. General John Bjorg led a force of 7,000 from redcoats to Indian warriors. He aimed to capture Albany, New York, and meet the British Army operating around New York City. In July, he captured Fort Ticonderoga. They advanced down the Hudson River. But in August, part of the army was defeated near Bennington, Vermont. In October, Bjork's entire force was defeated in Saratoga, signaling the turning point of the revolution. Right, so when I think back to why the victory at Saratoga was important, I definitely want to make sure that I have this sentence underlined. Don't underline it in your book. If you have the paper, it's already underlined for you, but you want to make sure this is an important piece. It was the defeat at Saratoga for the British was a turning point. That means it's also a turning point for the colonists, because that means the Continental Army won. It was a turning point where they started to win the war. So for 1B, we would write, General John Bjorg led an army of redcoats and Indian warriors down to New York, trying to capture Albany and meet up with the British Army. His force was defeated in Saratoga, which was a turning point in the American Revolution. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 2A. 2A says, why did John Bjork want to go to New York? So if we go back in our text, it says that he led a force of 7,000 redcoats, and he wanted to capture New York and meet the British Army operating in New York City. Okay, so this is the reason why he went to New York, to capture it and to meet up with the British Army there. So in box 2A, we would write, John Bjork wanted to capture Albany, New York, and meet up with the British Army that was already in the area. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 2B. It says, why would this benefit the British Army? So if two groups of soldiers are in the same place, that means that they have more people if they were to come up against the Continental Army. And we know the more people you have on your side in battle, the more likely it is for you to win. So in box 2B, we would write, if Bjorg were able to meet up with the British Army already in New York City, the two forces would be stronger together and better able to fight the rebels. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 3. It says, what was the result of General Bjorg's journey down from Canada? So if I go back to the beginning of the paragraph, it says that he journeyed from Canada over to Lake Champlain. And then he led his force to capture New York. All right, and then after that, he joined up with the army. He captured another fort. He went down the Hudson River, but he was beat in Vermont, and then he got beat again in Saratoga. Okay, and so this is eventually, this last sentence is the result of his journey down from Canada. It's the end of his journey. So in box 3A, I would write this quote. Bjorg's entire force was defeated in Saratoga, signaling the turning point of the revolution. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 3B. It says, based on what you already know about the war, why would this be a turning point in the revolution? And we need to think that this was a really big group of British soldiers. It was a combination of several different groups, and so if they were all defeated at Saratoga, that means a big part of the British Army was defeated. So the colonists didn't have that much more to defeat. Okay, so in box 3B, we would write, if Bjorg's entire force was defeated, this means that the rebels must have won the victory. This means that the rebels succeeded against a strong British force and may be gaining the upper hand in war. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for box 4. And for box 4, we're going to go to this picture and caption of John Burgoyne. It says, the dashing General Burgoyne won the confidence of King George III, who placed him in command of the Royal Northern Army for the 1777 campaign. But the Americans surrounded and captured his expedition in Saratoga, New York. All right, and so in box 4A it says, why was John Burgoyne important? And we know he was important because the king had confidence in him to lead the Northern Army. So in box 4A, we would write, Burgoyne had the favor of King George III and was in charge of the Royal Northern Army. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for 4B. It says, how did the Americans gain a victory at Saratoga? And if we go back into the caption, it says that the Americans surrounded and captured his expedition. That is how they were able to win. So we would write that down in box 4B. But the Americans surrounded and captured his expedition at Saratoga, New York. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. And for the paragraph, it says, why was the victory at Saratoga a turning point in the revolution? All right, so you can use your main idea, and you can also use box 3 as a way to support your answer, specifically 3B.